Well, hey there. Welcome back to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And you can also find me on Instagram as Movie Review Mom, of course, but also as Trina Boice. You can see some of my books and my online courses and my upcoming travels to Europe. Super excited. But also, you can find me on Facebook in a group called, guess what? Movie Review Mom, where I post all of my reviews, but also fun contests and polls. And we talk about all kinds of silly stuff and share images and stuff. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. So thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. The movie I'm reviewing is called Last Night in Soho. So this dramatic thriller directed by Edgar Wright is now available exclusively in theaters. It'll be out on streaming eventually, but it's especially appropriate for it to come out Halloween weekend here in the United States because it's spooky. I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. The movie is rated R and it's an hour and 57 minutes. I'll give you my movie review mom grade at the end of the review. But first, in a nutshell, in acclaimed director Edgar Wright's psychological thriller, Eloise, an aspiring fashion designer, she's a student, is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s where she encounters a dazzling wannabe singer, Sandy. But the glamour is not all that it appears, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something far darker. This film actually won the most anticipated film of 2021 from the Hollywood Critics Association, and it was nominated for Best Film at the Venice Film Festival. So there's a lot to put on its shoulders. Is it any good? I'll tell you. First of all, I absolutely adore both of the leading ladies, Thomas Mackenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy. So I had to see this. I love them both so much. So I really wanted to see what they were going to do and how they were going to utilize these two beautifully talented actresses. What a powerhouse of talent these two beautiful women possess. So there were many things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, as I said, I've been a huge fan of Thomas and Mackenzie ever since I first saw her doe-like appearance in the movie called Leave No Trace. And then later, she was in Jojo Rabbit. Most recently, she was in an M. Night Shyamalan movie called Old. So there is something very special about her. She has this unique innocence that is so fresh and charming. And already, speaking of charming, some people are saying she could easily play a future Disney princess. I agree, absolutely. Next to the polished and incredibly talented Anya Taylor-Joy, they both keep you mesmerized to the screen. They both showed great physicality, and also we get to hear Anya Taylor-Joy sing. I didn't even know she could sing. She is just stunning and fabulous in any movie that she does. So I absolutely enjoyed both of their performances in the film, and they really make the movie. I love the stylish transitions, and there are plenty of them in this movie. The fantastic Last Night in Soho soundtrack blends the stylish 60s with horror. Sometimes a song will start to play and you're in the 60s vibe, and then it's like, like the horror kind of music. It includes music from Celia Black, Petula Clark, The Kinks, and other appearances from 1960s legends like Sandy Shaw, whose song actually won first place in the 1967 Eurovision competition. Now that we've all seen Eurovision on Netflix, we kind of know what that's all about. So that was a big deal. The music really takes you back in time and just oozes style. And speaking of music, I think director Edgar Wright has always done an incredible job incorporating music into his movies in really creative ways. I was blown away with how he used music in the movie Baby Driver. I thought that movie was brilliant. It's very violent and bloody, but it's still brilliant. I really enjoyed it. You can watch my movie review here on Movie Review Mom, and you can read my review at moviereviewmom.com. So I also love twists, and there are twists, several of them in this movie. The use of mirrors in many of the scenes is very cleverly done, and the camera work I think is good. I wouldn't say it's over the top amazing, but it's done very, very well. Some of the things that are done really, really well are the production design, really great. And even the makeup and the costume design are also very good. I thought it was really clever to darken Thomasin McKenzie's makeup, especially around the eyes, as she falls deeper and deeper into her psychological and physiological journey. No spoilers here. Some of the characters go to a Halloween party during the movie. And so I think, again, the release of this movie during the Halloween weekend here in the United States is perfect. It's not the classic horror movie. It's definitely more psychological than horror, but it does have both. If you've seen Italian giallo horror movies, you'll recognize this film as kind of an homage to that filmmaking style. The subtle and overt aggressions toward women are illustrated very well in multiple ways and multiple times in the movie. And so I think most women will be able to relate, which also makes female audiences, I think, even more receptive to the actresses' stories in the movie. Now, all of that good being said, there were a few things that I didn't like, but not very many. First of all, the movie kind of feels like it was made by two different directors because the tone of the film is dramatically different from the first half to the second half of the movie, or up to 3/4 of the way from the movie. If you put happy music in the background during the entire movie, minus the horror stuff, it would just be kind of a fun 60s stylish film mixed with modern day stuff. But there's this total turn that the movie takes about halfway, 3/4 of the way through, where you're like, oh, okay, we're doing this. The ending, however, is problematic, I guess I can say, and a little bit frustrating. You're like, wait, so what was going on there? And some things aren't really fully explained. For example, I don't want to give you any spoilers. Just trust me, by the end, you're going to go, I don't know how I feel about this. And then finally, sadly, this was British actress Dame Diana Rigg's last film before she died from lung cancer a year ago. She had a very long career in stage and on screen, winning many awards for her performances. And in fact, in 1988, she was made a CBE in England and named a British Dame in 1994 for services to drama. That's a big deal. We don't really have any equivalent of that here in America other than, an Academy Award or an Emmy Award. And she actually did win Emmy Awards among many of the things that she received. Those not familiar with her earlier work might recognize her from seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in Game of Thrones. She's like the older matronly grandmother. And if you've seen Game of Thrones, then you might know what I'm talking about. Now, let me give you some tips for parents. There is some profanity, F-bombs, and crude language. There is a lot of premarital relations, some of it shown, mostly clothes. You see two girls wearing just bras, lots of alcohol and smoking. People are murdered in bloody, gory ways. Prostitution is illustrated and talked about. And then there are some scary looking ghosts. So all in all, this is not a movie appropriate for children, and I wouldn't recommend it for family viewing. So there were some themes that were positive, worth talking about, and those include legacy, leaving a legacy, and even following your parents' legacy, living your dream and broken dreams, fashion, memories, peer pressure, envy, and controlling your life, or taking control of your life by the decisions that you make. And ultimately, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your choices. That's kind of my little life mantra. Little fun fact there for you for today. Now, I always write down funny lines and interesting lines just to share them with you so you kind of get a taste for the movie. And so there's one line. There were a lot of lines that were dramatic and inspirational and interesting. Not so many funny lines because this is not a comedy, but here's one line that I just wrote down. And it was when Thomas and Mackenzie is talking to her new landlady where she's going to live. She starts off in the dorms and it's just kind of out of control, and she's not feeling the peace that she needs while she's a fashion student. And so she rents out this like little flat in London. And so the lady who's the landlord of the flat is Miss Collins. And so Miss Collins is like, okay, I need you to pay 2 months in advance, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't want you just skipping town, or just disappearing on me. And so Thomas and Mackenzie leans forward and emphasizing her words. She says, Miss Collins, I would never do that. And I was like, wow, I don't know if I've ever seen quite an obvious foreshadowing. And so I was kind of curious to see what was going to happen with her, how that was going to actually unfold. And again, no spoilers. That just happened to be the only line that I wrote down. Not the best line of the movie, but whatever. Anyway, all being said, the movie review mom grade I'm giving this is a B+. So let me give you a couple recommendations for some other Edgar Wright movies that I think you'll really enjoy. The first one is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I just think that was just really fun and quirky. Rated R. I wouldn't advise you for family viewing again for that one, but it is kind of fun. Real world and virtual world mixed together. And then I think that might have been the very first movie that I had seen him do, maybe. Anyway, and then as I mentioned, Baby Driver. I thought the acting was great. The musical component of the storytelling was fantastic. I just thought it was a lot of fun. But again, pretty violent and bloody and all of that kind of stuff. All right, that's it for my review. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Happy Halloween. Don't eat too much sugar. Have fun. Be safe. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.